every 28, 30 days, you get a chance to start over. You get a chance to be more ready for whatever it is you're working toward every single month. And I think that's really, really special. We have everything we need inside of us. And again, going back to the intuition, you know when you're ready to start something. Hi there, my name is Phoebe Wells, and this is Write Yourself Up with a little help from above. So one of these days I'm really going to invest in a camera holder because I'm using a stack of books today, and it took me a good 40 minutes to get the correct angle, so I think it might be time to invest in a holder. But anyways, happy new moon and eclipse day. New moons are my favorite time of the month because it allows us an opportunity to reflect on our life, both the past, the present, the future, and it just lets us identify what's working and what's not, and then what goals and intentions we want to keep in our sights to hopefully one day achieve. But when you think of life on a grand scale, it can be kind of overwhelming. You're going to think about, the different obstacles you've overcome and the hurdles you've gone through and the celebrations and the joys and everything that led you up to this moment. And then you look at your present life, what your current job looks like, what your relationship status is, what your family situation is like. And then you look toward your future, and it's all about bringing the things that worked from the past and the present to then magnify your true self as much as possible in the future. And that is a lot to take in and handle all at once. So when you have all those goals and aspirations, which I know you all have, again, it can just be a little overwhelming. So the new moon lets us just go more granular and take a look at our life just in a 1 month period. So what is it that you want to work on this month? What do you want to work toward this month? Or what do you just want to not work on? What are you working too much on? And basically take a look at what is most important to you and what you need to do in your current life in order to get there. And that's why I love the new moon. And yes, I fixed my hair because I didn't like the way it looked. So new moons let us come back to ourselves. And, when you look at it in a cycle, there's the new moon, and then 2 weeks later, there's the full moon. Now, that full moon is usually the turning point or the culmination of something that you did on the new moon, whether that be you said your intention was to work out 5 days a week and you get to the full moon. Did you work out 5 days a week, or did you do 3 or 4 or none at all? It's a way to check what you set for the new moon. And then, of course, there's just putting in the work for a much larger, grander intention that you're setting for yourself. And obviously, that's going to take some time. I mean, it could come to fruition on the full moon if things move very fast for you, which they could. But usually, big things take a little longer to come to fruition. So new moons let us come back to ourselves, and they just ask us to sit with our thoughts, just quietly for a moment by ourselves, and sort out what we have going on in our head. They make us check in with ourselves, our own intuition, and how we can use that to better our life. So even if you're new to astrology, I bet that you have found yourself at some point in your life gazing up into the sky at that beautiful, beautiful nightlight of the sky. I'm talking about the moon, if you didn't know. Personally, early into my spiritual journey, I felt a pull toward learning about the moon. It's funny, a story from my childhood that my mom likes to tell that I've heard my whole life revolves around my observation of the moon. So we were driving somewhere, and apparently it was one of those big, orange yellow moons that just filled the sky. And I started saying, Momus, Momus, Momus. And my mom kept asking, what? What are you saying? And I'm I think she says that I wasn't yet 2. I don't remember how old I was. She would know better. But I kept saying Momus, and she didn't understand what I was saying. And I guess I got really mad and uh, frustrated and just screamed, Momus. And then my mom finally got it and said, oh, enormous. You're saying the moon is enormous, which is funny because that is a very like full moon energy to just be like trying to convey something and you can't and no one's understanding you, so you just get really frustrated and scream. And then I guess sometimes you're understood if you just yell really loudly. I don't know if that's something I should encourage, but that's what happened when I was a kid. And obviously, I don't remember that moment, but I don't doubt its truth. Um, I still find myself looking at the sky and just being transfixed by the beauty and the mystery of that beautiful orb in the sky. And it is kind of wild to think that people, billionaires and governments are colonizing the moon. I don't know how I feel about that because obviously, it's of the universe. Of course, you can go visit it, but it's like, how is that going to affect the energy? Is that going to affect the energy? I don't know. That's a topic that I would really be interested in hearing from expert astrologers about. Okay, where was I? So at the end of 2020, I bought my first Magic of Eye planner. Um, I have it right here. This is this year's edition. But it honestly changed my life a little. That sounds very dramatic, but I'm not using hyperbole. It set me up with a journaling practice with the moon. And, I got that at the end of 2020. So I did all of 2020. No, sorry, all of 2021. And, we're coming to the end of 2022. And I've journaled on the new moon and the full moon in very specific dedicated places in this planner. And it's really helped me. It's helped me with insights into myself. I've been able to really pinpoint how the sky has affected my life throughout these past 2 years, and it's an invaluable product and process that I've found, and it's the reason why I crafted this journaling workshop that's literally today. And so if you catch this before the class at 6 o'clock tonight, feel free to stop by because it's talking about these two very important elements of my journaling practice. The one being just a lifelong love of taking pen to paper and working through issues that I have going on in my life, dating back to when I was a teenager or all the way back to when I was a kid, not realizing the catharsis that journaling provided for me. And then now into an adult who's, oh, this practice helps me. I need to do this for my own personal well being and survival. And I just want to help other people tap into that. But then that was really loud. Didn't mean to hit that. But that's how passionate I am about it. So, the other aspect of it, for people who are interested in it, is just kind of a brief overview of how you can use the new moon to amplify your journaling practice. Because it's really, really, really beneficial. So, tonight's new moon is in Scorpio, and last week I kind of touched on the why am I blanking of this word? I touched on the topic of how you determine what sign the moon is in. So if the sun is in Scorpio, as it is, the new moon is going to be in Scorpio as well, because the new moon always falls in the sign of the sun's sign that month. Well, I say month, but the way the signs work, they don't work with the calendar month, so that was probably not the right term to use. But whatever season the new moon falls into, like Scorpio season, the new moon is in Scorpio, and the full moon will be in Taurus because Taurus is the opposite sign of Scorpio. So each sign influences the moon in its own way. It brings in its own unique traits and energies, to the new moon, which is always a time for rebirth and fresh starts. So in Scorpio, the new moon highlights the necessity for working toward your personal goals. A big thing that kept popping up in my research was trusting our intuition. That feels really true in my soul as I speak that out loud, because personally, that's an area of my life that I've put a lot of focus and energy into cultivating. I think for a lot of us, we're told from a young age that other people know what's best for us. This could be our parents, which, I mean, technically, yeah, a lot of times they did know what was best for us. Like ice cream, not a great entree for dinner. Um, I mean, it's really good and it's fun to do as an adult, but you can't really do that every night as a kid. It could also be your teacher not understanding how you learned as a kid. I know there's a lot of people who, you know, should have, who don't thrive with standardized tests and really were left out because they were really good and could do all the practical applications of certain things, but when it came time to sit down and take a test, they were horrible at it. Or conversely, they're really good at test taking and were fine at practical application, but the structure of homework and even just showing up for class, like that was difficult for them because they weren't engaged. And when you're a student, and especially in the public education system, you know how you learn, you know what interests you, but the way our education system is made up, it's the teacher tells you this is what you have to learn, this is how you have to learn it, sorry if you don't get it. And that schooling takes up such a big part of our life that it's really frustrating for people who don't fit into that traditional mold because they're essentially told that they don't know themselves, they won't succeed because they're not fitting into this mold that society is telling them to. So what really means they could be really smart and really understand how to do things, they're basically told, no, that's not true because you're not fitting this. And that really does a disservice to the human and their ability to learn, understand, and trust themselves. Our natural ability to tap into our own unique understanding of ourselves, the universe, and how we interact with it, it gets lost over time. And it's up to us to find it again. So, with the energy of the partial solar eclipse falling on the new moon in Scorpio, it kind of just brings a big spotlight onto all of that, all the self empowerment, all the intuition, all the wishing and hoping for the future and wanting to do something about it. It's just amplified by the solar eclipse. So, yeah, I mean, your feelings might be all over the place because of that energy, but that's why it's so vital to carve out that time for yourself just to check in with your feelings, your energy, your life. Just sit with yourself in some contemplative silence and just be with your thoughts and emotions. You meet yourself where you are. So, back to the journaling course, real quick. I knew that it was the new moon in Scorpio, like full disclosure. That's why I picked that date. That's why I asked if I could reserve the room at True North in Glens Falls. I was really glad that it was available. But I had no idea that it was also a partial solar eclipse. Just genuinely had no idea that that was the energy we'd be working with. So, what does that mean for the class? Well, I genuinely have no idea. So, if you're free tonight and want to stop by, come see for yourself and we'll learn together. Scorpio is really big on self empowerment. So be sure to harness the energy of this new moon, that brings in that rebirth and renewal to dig up elements of our life that work to undermine us. This could be compulsive behaviors, addictions, bad spending habits, negative self talk, anything that hinders us and doesn't promote our growth. It's really important to kind of unveil that and examine that. So we have this self work energy of the new moon, and then the universe is gifting us with this partial solar eclipse. I've often heard astrologers refer to it as a spiritually mysterious wild card. So I did some research to kind of find some quotes from experts about this unique moment because I'm a newbie and I want to make sure that I put out the right information. So Iva Neskova, she's an astrologer at the Nebula app. She spoke to Refinery 29 about how the partial eclipse is taking place on the lunar south node, and that the south node represents our karmic past. If you don't believe in past lives, that's fine. Honestly, I'm kind of on the offense about it. I'm leaning more towards believing in it with the things that I've researched and found, but TBD on how I feel about it. Except, I don't know, I kind of do. It's a process, ever evolving, our spiritual journey, and that's okay. Anyways, super big tangent. So she says, this new moon in Scorpio is an ideal time to deal with repressed negative emotions from the past, such as fear, anger, pain, and grief, she says. It can be a dark and challenging time, but it is the only way to move forward and allow new beginnings to take place in your life. It is really, really hard to do the work. That's what I said to my colleague after my appointment last week with the food therapist. It was interesting, and I really had to confront some not great things about my eating habits. And when I was on the phone with her, I kind of laughed and I just threw my head back and I was like, oh, I have to do the work. Because I've done the work on different elements of my life. The sexual abuse and the cult stuff, and I've really had to examine that and look at it. But my eating habits and binging and restricting and binging and restricting, I was just actively ignored. So it was kind of this like slap in the face of like, oh God, in order to grow more, I have to overcome this, and that sucks. So, but I know it's the only way to move forward with my life. So that's what I have to do. Another note is the new moon solar eclipse is also aligning with Venus in Scorpio. That's that Venus star point I talked about last week. I know I need to do a video on that. I'm still not quite sure how to put that into words, but I'm working on it. And that helps to bring down the intensity of all this energy going around. It like kind of injects the spiritual wildcardness with a boost of peace and harmony, which is always welcome. Neskova also went on to say that secrets can come out on the surface, so it will be helpful to be as honest as possible with the people you love and care about. Intimacy and trust issues threaten to test your relationships. Nevertheless, you should listen to your heart and try not to rush out with your judgments. Yeah, so like confronting anything in any of your relationships, whether that be yourself, your romantic relationships, your familial relationships, your coworkers, your friends, if there's an issue, you need to talk about it. And again, that's so much easier said than done, and it would just be better to not have any confrontation. Hi, I'm a Pisces. I hate confrontation. But I also have personally witnessed firsthand what happens when you don't talk about what you're feeling or observing or just kind of bottling everything up. It doesn't work. So this time is a great opportunity to really unearth just your feelings and just be open about how you feel. It's hard to speak your truth sometimes, but it's a lot harder to keep it stifled. So yeah, again, going back to the class tonight, I don't really know what to expect. I'm very excited. Definitely picked an interesting time to host my first journaling workshop, but it's something that I've wanted to do for a really long time. All I want to do is help people. I want to help them get back to themselves. I found that journaling is the best way for me to do that. And the way I look at it is there has to be a few people out there like me who would benefit from incorporating a daily journaling practice into their lives. That's why I'm doing this. I just want to help people find their way to the page and write their story and work through all their thoughts and feelings, because we have a lot of them, and it really helps to just get it all out on the paper. And that's the goal of this class. And I'm really excited. So if I see you there, great. If not, I'm definitely going to be doing an online course in the future, so I'll keep you posted on that. Whew, okay, I think that's all for this week. So now it's time to end it with our oracle card reading. I don't know why I said that so weird or dancing, but it's okay. So weird. Anyways, all right. Before I pull the card for the week, I just want to kind of give you a idea of what I do when I'm going to pull an oracle card. So I always center myself. I literally put my both feet flat on the ground. I sit up straighter, as Adrian from Yoga with Adrian would say, pelvis over heart, or wait, what is it? Heart over, what is it? Head over heart, heart over pelvis. Wow. I've been watching her videos for like 3 years, and she says that all the time. That was really embarrassing that I did not understand it. Remember, oh well, this is me. Anyways, as Adrian from Yoga with Adrian would say, put your head over your heart over pelvis. That just keeps your energy centers lined up. And then I put my hand on top of the deck. I take a deep breath and I start shuffling. Okay, so normally I shuffle a little longer than that, but I found that the universe tells me when it's time to read a card, and often that means they shoot out at me. So today we got ready but waiting. The earthly meaning. There is no rush. Bide your time and be ready to act. Observe and build your stores of knowledge, energy, and resources. Resist being goaded to act before you are ready. You have not missed your chance. Prepare and be poised for an opportunity. Confidence is not being certain of success. It is being prepared to give something your best shot. Spiritual meaning. You are protected by a higher power, and that is why everything seems to have come to a standstill. It is said that there is a time, reason, and season for everything under the heaven, and this is true. When the time is right, all will clear, and things will progress easily. For now, patience is needed. The time is coming closer. Insight. Inside a seed, the tiny beginning of a plant is kept in stasis until just the right amount of water, oxygen, soil, and heat trigger its release into the world. The seed contains growth inhibitors which hold the new plant back until the conditions for survival are close to ideal. There is a very limited supply of food and energy in a seed, and once triggered, a new seedling uses these stores to send a small root into the earth, and the first shoots boldly upwards to the sunlight. Then the seed is no more. Its vital job of protector and nurturer is done. From here, it is up to the seedling to find nourishment and respond to its surroundings by stretching towards the light, water, and nutrients it needs to realize its full height. In this way, little by little, a mountain ash can become 5,000 times bigger than the seed it began with. But this is not the seed's concern. Its job is to give the plant embryo its best start. When the right conditions are right, there is no more waiting. Be ready to launch. I love that. Thank you, universe. What struck out to me as I was reading it right at the beginning is resist being goaded to act before you are ready. You have not missed your chance. That's why I love astrology, and especially the moon cycle, because every 28, 30 days, you get a chance to start over. You get a chance to be more ready for whatever it is you're working toward, every single month. And I think that's really, really special. It's really, again, it's easy, like I talked about at the beginning of the episode, that it's really easy to get overwhelmed by all these things we want to accomplish. And then, not to mention, even comparing yourself to other people, or doing things for other people. It's not, it's pointless because we have everything we need inside of us. And again, going back to the intuition, you know when you're ready to start something. And, I talked a lot about this journaling course. If you're not ready, that's fine. Like, it's always there for you. These tools, these lessons, it's all there for you. And no matter how much astrologers or anyone can say, like, oh, this is a once in a lifetime event, this is the first time it's happened in 500 years, like, it's not wrong, but it's not your last chance. And I think that's really magical, and that's really beautiful. It means that we can always grow, and I love that for us. So happy new moon, happy eclipse day, and I hope you have a great week. I genuinely do. I'm sending you all an abundance of love and light.